Welcome back. We're still with the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's continue now with the recommendations from the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, one of which was urging ministries, departments and agencies to embrace Made in Nigeria, perhaps through the procurement processes. How is this going to be done?
First and foremost, I know there's been several trainings held for procurement officers on local content. I know there's been a request also for industries where we think are ready for procurement processes. We're also talking about textiles and textiles, how we're going to see how our services, our uniform services, so we're talking about hospitals, we're talking about all the military, air force, if they would also key into this. Leather, their boots, well, they'll be made. When I say if, I'm talking about the industry itself. Can they meet up? For example, if every year the Ministry of Interior has a demand for 40 million sets of uniforms, can we meet up? And this is made in Nigeria. The materials are there. The people who make the garments are there. But what is the process? What is the turnaround time so that we can meet demands? And so we're also being requested to look at that. There's even talk whether we should do it in phases so that they can be able to meet capacity. So if you're requesting for 40,000 uniforms per annum, can you make it 20-20-20 so that the industries can build their capacity? And we hope all this is also going to go back into what we call the backward integration. For example, if you concentrate on the textiles, when there's a demand for all these textiles, what happens? The farmers, there's a need for cotton, so that more farmers will be encouraged to farm. Why? Because they have off-takers. They know somebody's going to buy their cotton, and then the multiplier effects. More people will be building tailoring institutions. More people will be doing finishing. So there will be a lot of stimulus in the economy.
Another thing again is this figure. Nigeria ranks low in the world ranking for the ease of doing business. For instance, we have the nation ranking 169 in 2016, 170 in 2015. And to address this, you of course came up with you unveiled the strategy on the ease of doing business, and there's even a council to that effect. How are you going to manage all of this, to achieve your goal?
The World Bank ranking, I think, is based on 10 sectors, if I remember clearly. And we're going to concentrate on just a few of them, the most complicated ones, to ease some of the ease of doing business. As a ministry, we're also concentrating on the business licensing because we have the registration, the Corporate Affairs Commission under us. Yes, the council has been approved by Mr. President to set up. We're in the process of setting up the council. Sensitization programs have been ongoing with the states to engage them. We've also received a lot of support from development partners on how best to how best to work with business licensing. A lot of states have also taken upon themselves to just articulate what makes it easy for them to allow investors to come into their respective states. Everybody is keying into it. Were you all going to have to use technology because it makes it faster? And then I also know that we're going to introduce a feedback platform whereby if you don't get your services as and when required, then you raise an alert so that attention is given to it. Otherwise, sometimes people don't realize that a request has been put in and it's sitting there for 2 or 3 weeks because you're probably overwhelmed or you're away on assignment. But when there's something that alerts you, you have to respond to something. And if you don't respond, there's something that's going to happen to you, then you're able to work faster. So a lot is going into that. I know friendly states. I mentioned Kaduna State. Yesterday at the program, I heard about Anambra State. I know Kano State is doing a lot also to make the ease of doing business something worth. I know Lagos State is also doing a lot. So a lot of states are keying into it and making it easy for people to come in and do business.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and for coming on Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bad roads, non-functional streetlights and lack of basic amenities are just some of the problems residents of the Federal Capital Territory now contend with. On this week's edition of Focus on the FCT, we take a look at the decaying infrastructure in the nation's capital. Bad road, poor electricity and wild traffic are some of the challenges confronting residents of the nation's capital. Driving along Abuja city centre at night does not come easy, as most of the street lights are not working. Motorists have had to make do with their car headlights to illuminate the roads. This has been the situation in Abuja in the last few months. This is just one of the several infrastructural challenges in the capital city in recent times. There's also been an alarming number of bad roads in the city centre. For a city that hosts the president, the federal lawmakers and the diplomatic corps, residents say this is embarrassing.
It's about 7-8 years now. This is exactly how the road be since then till up to date. So at times we used to pack sand to block the erosion because of our own work. So since then, the road is like this.
We have over 30 estates in Lokogoma, at least to be precise in this area. We have over 30 estates. The road is unmotorable. I've lost my cars here. Whenever it's raining, we have to stop until the flood takes its way from FAB Junction to this point to the Dodoma filling station. We are suffering on this road.
There are no lights on that road. Armed robbers have shot 2 or 3 doctors that stay in this residence. Last year and even this year, it has made residents to evacuate from the estate. And the flood is pretty bad. We've been killing reptiles. Even yesterday, we killed a snake in my house from the flood.
While residents contend with bad roads, the indiscipline on the road is another matter. The capital city has clearly defined bus stops for taxis and commercial buses to park or pick up passengers. However, the taxis and commercial bus drivers have turned motorways to motor parks, obstructing traffic in the process.
From the records throughout 2015, there were no capital releases to the Ministry of the FCT until in December of 2015. What we did was to first and foremost request for the extension of the budget by additional 3 months, so that we'll be able to mobilize all available resources to pay the contractors. And that's why you will notice during the last few months, some semblance of construction activity has returned to the city. Roads are now being, construction of the roads are now being continued. A substantial part of the liability, especially for the smaller size companies, were paid and encouraged to continue to provide the services that they were providing. You will notice also some improvement in the sanitation in the city. While of course I will acknowledge that we are not there yet, but definitely there has been some improvement.
While the FCT administration is making plans to address the infrastructural decay, Abuja residents are getting impatient and wants the administration to deliver on its mandate of making Abuja the first-class city and a model for other states in the country. Well, thank you for your mails as always. Keep sending in your views and comments using the email address and Twitter handle on your screen. Also be sure to share anything happening within your locality. And don't you forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/videos. Make a comment after viewing any of the videos and be sure to include your name and location. Thank you for watching this week. I'm Gloria Umezuke. Well, thank you for your mails as always. Keep sending in your views and comments using the email address and Twitter handle on your screen. Also be sure to send in anything happening within your locality. And don't you forget, you can view the program on youtube.com/channelsweb/